how was it when you were starting? And how was the whole selection process? How did you prepare?
Yeah. I recall it perfectly.
Talking about the present and, of course, the future, what are the emerging trends right now in the industry?
Clearly, one is on technology.
Hello, everyone. My name is Emma, and I'm the Vice President at 180 Degrees Consulting in Madrid.
And I'm Claudia, and I'm the Outreach Director at 180 Degrees Consulting Valencia.
Today, we are speaking to all of you who are interested in consulting and would like to take a peek into what your future career might look like. These insights will be provided by our guest, Juan Antonio Bahillo Monné, who is a senior partner at McKinsey & Company here in Madrid. There, he leads the advanced industry practice and, at a European level, the credit risk practice. We will be asking him all about his 20 years of experience in McKinsey, and so definitely keep listening or watching.
Well, Juan, first we wanted to thank you for giving us the opportunity today to join us, and we hope you had a great morning and that you are as excited as we are.
Thanks to you. Thank you for having me.
So let's dive right in. So obviously you have a very impressive career, but the first thing that we would like to start with is if you would imagine yourself when you were 18 years old, would you imagine that you would be here where you are right now?
Not, absolutely not. I was not aware of what consulting was when I was 18. I studied industrial engineering because I love technology. I love manufacturing. I love processes, and that was a bit the passion that was behind me. So this is why I decided to study engineering, and I was not even aware of consulting. None of my family members, neither my parents or my sisters and brothers, I'm the youngest of six, family of six, were in the consulting world. So it was totally new. So I basically did my studies at some point in time. The consultancy crossed paths with me, and I started to get curious about this industry. It was in particular when I was doing my final project for the university. I was in Paris, and I worked for a car manufacturer. And I was in a project where many consultants went around. Okay, and I found quite interesting that what they were doing and the vision that they were bringing, the ideas that they were bringing from outside the company. So I started to talk to them beyond the pure project that we were doing, and I got interested. And also by that point in time, I had one brother-in-law that was working in consultancy, so I started getting also more curious and talking to him, and he said, you might want to try it. And this is how all the things started.
Nice. And talking about your degree, were you sure about making that decision?
Yeah, you mean my degree at the yeah. No, I was very vocational, and I still many of the things that I think that I learned in the university, I still I don't know if the word is apply, but for sure many of the things are still in very helpful for my work today. But also I think the background I got during my degree and my university helped me a lot on my structural thinking, analytical thinking, on how I approach some of the problems when it comes across to help the clients we serve.
That's actually very interesting. And so just talking about your degree, do you think that if you were to make the decision again, would you choose the same degree?
Absolutely. I think, as I said before, I think it was quite vocational. I enjoy a lot. I enjoy the write. And I said I have applied a lot, and this is engineering industry is something I really love. So for sure.
Okay, that's great. I mean, you already kind of touched on like how you learned about that, the fact that consulting exists. But I mean, a lot of the people who are listening or watching right now are preparing for the interview process. How was it when you were starting, and like how was the whole selection process? Maybe how did you prepare?
Yeah. I recall it perfectly. I think I recall every single minute of the process, every single person I talked to, or even the people that was interviewing me. I think, I don't know if you want my personal view and advice is, I think the first thing is, at least I took look, it was like another exam I need to do in the career. So you need to prepare. Okay. You might not to be to over prepare, but you need to be prepared. You need to know what the people that is in front of you is expecting for you, and how your experience and your skill set can fit into that. So the first thing is prepare and don't improvise. Okay. The second thing is, I mean, this is one industry among many others that are in the world, and this is one profession among many others that are in the world. So I think it's also a good opportunity for you to learn and understand if this is something that you want to do as a profession. So take the advantage of the whole process of that you are going to be exposed to many people that is in the industry, to get the know and to understand the people, and you will feel if there is a fit with these people, with this type of work, with this industry, and also it's feedback that you as a candidate you can get. And I think the third is during the process. I think most of the companies, at least we at McKinsey, we really rely on that, on the case interview, which at the end is trying to solve in 30 minutes a project. Okay, obviously it's very condensed, but all of them are very inspired in real work that we are doing with clients. So at the end, also understanding very well how this work look day to day is also very interesting for me as a candidate to understand if something that I would love to do. And then regardless this is the outcome of the process is successful or not, for sure you are going to learn a lot. And in particular to learn if this is something I want to do, this is something maybe I had a misconception, and to keep going.
Definitely. And I mean, if you think back to the process, like when you were initially starting it at McKinsey, was there something that like really surprised you during the interview process that you weren't expecting?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I think people tell you how the process runs. Okay, I think both from recruiting, and then you always try to get a bit of leveraging your network, people that has been already in the process or that actually is working in one of the companies. So I would say the essentials was there, and I knew. I think what impressed me more is maybe two things. One is the level of the people that was interviewing me, because some of them, I mean, there are several rounds, but some of them were very senior, and I was a bit talking, look, I'm a very young guy, just finished my career, and he's a super senior person, and he's committed to learn, and so to learn about my profile and to commit time to the interview. So at the end, you realize that these people is really committed to you as a candidate. So that's one thing. And the other thing I think is the level of professionalism and I would say transparency, and even that was there in the process. Okay, there were not too many surprises. There was very clear what was expected. There was very clear the feedback. I think they were also trying to help me in that process. So I think that's also something that surprised me a lot.
Okay, that's very cool, and that's actually very good to hear that. I mean, that everyone in the end was very professional, and that also from the side of the company that there is a commitment to the candidates and to the prospective candidates, which is something that's definitely reassuring for someone who is also going through the process and is preparing for the process. Kind of maybe like a lighter question. I don't know if you remember how your CV looked like back when you were applying, but what would you say was the most interesting thing, like your favorite thing about your CV from when you were applying?
That's a good one. And I recall my CV, of course. But I don't think there was one single thing that make my CV special. I think any of us, we are special for different reasons. And I think it's important that that's in your CV. I think in my personal case, I think there was a combination of three things, I would say. The first one is there was a lot of international experience in my CV. I did a double degree between Polytechnique de Madrid and École Nationale de Technique Supérieure, which is a university, a grande école in Paris. So I think that was something that at that point in time, maybe now those days, you are for sure much more exposed to international setups that I was in that time. But I think that was a bit special. Not all of my friends or my classmates were doing this type of programs. I think that was one of the things that was special. Also, I worked for that car manufacturer in Paris for a year, even before joining consulting. So I had also my first professional experience was abroad. One is around this international experience. The other one is a bit trying to see in the CV that you push yourself to excel. And I think that the grades that I had got there, I think that was also a bit differential, okay? And I think people that I think they look to my CV and say, okay, this is a person that has tried to push himself to excel. And I think, at least for the consultancy, I think this is an attribute that I think is relevant. And then the third is that I was doing in parallel to the studies and during summer many things. Okay, I have been working in summers. I was even a lifeguard for a swimming pool. I have been traveling. I was working in a amusement park in United States. So I was doing many things in parallel. And also this is a signal for someone that reads your CV of, look, this person has ambition or curiosity for doing different things or for getting the most of the time that we are, each of us, living. So I think that's where I will see the three factors. If I see my CV today, that I think, look, there might be a bit special.
Okay.
Nice. So talking about McKinsey, we know that you have been 20 years working in this company. Which of the services offered by this company have you worked in the most?
Yeah, I turned a few weeks ago 20 years at McKinsey, so I have been working, I would say, in a very broad set of industries, functions, countries. Initially, I used to work a lot in financial services. Okay. More, I would say, on the core of financial services, which is risk models, which has a lot to do with technical background. Okay, and this is where I apply my knowledge of the career. And then 2 years ago, I started leading our industry practice. I have been always doing a bit of industry because of my personal passion. Okay, but now I think I have much more exposure to the sector, which is in a total transition. Okay, in many aspects. And then functionally, many things from technology. I think more and more, most of the projects we are doing are touchback technology, capability building, strategy, growth, restructuring. So I would say many things. I don't think there is maybe anyone that is especially relevant, maybe more financial services and industry, as I said before.
Okay, nice. This is a weird question, but have you ever had to do unexpected tasks like ordering a taxi for a client or tidying up a cupboard?
Well, I don't know if the word is unexpected. I think I have done challenging tasks. Okay. And I can give you maybe one or two examples. I think it was it was the second or the third project where I was at McKinsey. I was working for a company on how to improve the provisioning of the services they are doing. It was like telco company providing services to the clients, and you need to go to the home to the client, install the equipment, and then the service was provided like broadband or whatever. So it was an operations project. So I was with the field workers in the doing the work to understand what were the pain points, the things that could be improved. So at some point in time, even I was doing the field work together with him. So I was not expecting to doing that, but it was a very good experience to really touch the journey. And if you want to learn and to improve it or to give recommendations to the clients, you need to get into the field. Okay, so I think that's one of the examples.
Okay,
and that's really interesting. And I mean, what would you say out of all the projects that you have worked on, if you had to choose, maybe top one or top two that you found the most fun?
Many examples come to my memory. Maybe one is I was serving a big international corporation, was present almost across all the growth. And the contest was we were going to do. We define a new set of standards on how the company needs to operate in different aspects. And the goal was to ensure that those standards are implemented across the group in many countries. Okay. Obviously, there was technical stuff around those standards, but then what was behind it was a big change in how the company was operating, mindsets and culture. So it was very challenging because we need to convince roughly, I think it was like 5,000 executives and managers about the change, about why those standards are better, and then once they are convinced, how you influence them to do the change. And it involved working to every single country, doing a lot of work, not only on the technical stuff, but also on building relationship with those clients who were from many different cultural backgrounds, just to persuade them that this is something that was beneficial for the company. And I think it was very challenging, but at the same time also very rewarding. I think it was 2 years transformation, something like this, if I'm not mistaken. And then when it was very intense, okay, it was traveling, you need to doing a lot of calls, you get inbound calls, outbound calls, because many people was involved. And at the end, I was like the central point of contact. But then when the project was more or less over, I kept a lot of the relationship with those clients, and looking backwards, I say, look, we really helped them to change. And this is something that still today they are working in this new operating model and these new standards. So it was very complex, very challenging, but I think very rewarding also.
That's very impressive, especially, I mean, just studying business and learning about change management. The top thing that everyone tells us is how difficult it is to convince people of changing. So like having the additional challenge of the different culture, etc. Like that's very impressive, I have to say. Would you say that this at the same time was the most challenging project that you worked on, or was there anything else that was even more difficult?
Well, that was a very challenging one. Maybe another situation. It's a different one, but it was in the just after the financial crisis. We got many clients from was banking, financial sectors, and even investors, industrial sector. There were many people coming to us say, look, we need to solve several industrial projects. Some companies that fundamentally they were good companies, but because during the financial crisis, many of those companies got over leveraged. There was a solution that needs to be done between the capital structure of the company and the fundamentals of the company. So we need to do a financial restructuring together with an operational restructuring to maximize the value of the companies and to maximize the chances of the companies are emerging healthy out of the crisis. So we work a lot with the industrials, specific single names, with the banks that were on the banking pool, some other investors that were on those companies. Even we work together with some other firms that were more on the policy making to ensure that the support was needed to come across that situation was there. So it was also a very interesting one.
And talking about projects, did you ever had to deal with a project that you thought it was tedious or unexciting for you?
I don't think so.
No?
I think every project is different, okay? And I think, obviously, with some projects you have more memories, some other you have, but I think in all of them you learn something.
You learn something.
Every project is different. Even if the topic is something that you have done before, but the client is different or the situation is different, and you always learn. So I don't think there is any project that was a boring project or something that I was not, or I regret of doing. Not really.
Okay, and if you were to state one most difficult thing about your job and one most rewarding, what would there be?
That's a good question. Well, I think the most, I don't know if it's the word is the most difficult thing, but this is something that is a bit intrinsic to the work we do, is that, as I was saying before, every project is different. So you need to have you need to deal with a lot of uncertainty
Okay.
in many ways. One is, for example, when you are, I don't know, project manager or consultant or associate in one project, you don't know what's the next project that you are going to have. You don't know in 2 3 weeks or several months what you will do doing. Um, Even when you are a bit also more senior, you don't know how. I mean, because projects has a time frame, you don't know what will be the next thing. So you need to cope with that uncertainty. You need to adapt and to flex yourself to whatever is coming. Um, and I think that's a bit of a challenge, I would say. But on the flip side, is very rewarding uh, because, as I said before, you are always learning. You are always pushing yourself
To new
to try
things.
to excel and to deliver on that new situation, which is not always easy. So I think for some people this might generate a bit of stress or uncertainty, and sometimes it's a bit difficult to cope with it. But this is something that you get used and you get the positive side of that, which is that at the end you are obviously motivated with new challenges that you need to address.
And you're never bored, which is
Never bored.
which is absolutely well, it's very nice to hear that. As I mean, I'm sure that's actually very nice to hear for every single person listening or watching this, that the excitement of being in consulting isn't something that's only at the beginning, but it's something that you have retained throughout your entire career. So I think that's really amazing. I mean, of course, like everyone knows that it can be stressful, and there is a certain level of uncertainty, as you were saying, but yeah, you it gives you the excitement, and it gives you a lot of valuable skills. And I mean, since we were talking about like the ability to deal with stress and uncertainty, what would you say are maybe the best skills that consulting has given you?
Many, I would say. Obviously, I think, and me as an engineer, I think my mind is always a bit very well squared, organized and very analytic. But I think even in consulting, I think in particularly at least in McKinsey, we like to see the progress with a lot of facts, and we like to give recommendations with hard facts that support the conclusions or the advice that we're giving to the client. So one of the things is that developing those uh, analytical skills, conceptual thinking that is behind all this logic, I think is something that you for sure develop. Um, Another aspect that you develop a lot is on communication. Okay, and I think at least when I joined, this is something that I was not aware how important it is. Because you tend to think, okay, now here is the content, the more complex the analysis or it's the better. But then you realize that communication is even, I would say, at least at the same level of importance, because you need to ensure that the message you convey get across and permeate to the organization, and I understand why. And sometimes it's okay following a clear structure, and storylining that helps to convey that history and what are the facts and how you simplify this communication to different levels. I think this is something that at least that I've developed a lot. And then I will say another one is interpersonal. Okay, it's not only that obviously you are always working in teams. Teams change, so you need to work with different people, adapt to different people. Also clients. Clients are very different. Some of them are colder, some of them are more closer to the work you are doing. So at the end, you need to adapt your interpersonal registry to many situations. Okay, and I think this is something that you also learn.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you end up dealing with a lot of people, and I mean, everyone is different. So that's definitely a very valuable skill. I mean, just maybe speaking about or touching on McKinsey as a company. I'm sure everyone is familiar with McKinsey, but what would you say that differentiates your company from other companies in the sector, for example, here in Spain?
Yeah, yeah. I think in Spain we have been here for more than 40 years, which is a lot, and I think that's a differential factor. And even globally, we are going to turn in 2027 100 years. So I think the history and I think that's one thing that is a bit, I would say, special about us. Second, I think we are a really or a truly global firm. I think we operate as such, and it's very easy to mobilize whomever you need to mobilize because they have an expertise or they have the capabilities or they have done something similar for another client, and we really work as a global firm, okay, and this helps to get exposed to many people, but also to bring the best to our clients. And then third, I would say we are continuously innovating, okay, and I think Spain has been a center of innovation for McKinsey globally. We have led many initiatives that then has been expanded or rolled over to the whole firm. And maybe I can mention three examples. Many years ago, when all that wave on analytics, machine learning, and so on and so forth, we created centers of quants in Madrid, and I think that was, if I'm not mistaken, one of the first in the firm. Then we have few others, but I think we innovate on that one, and we export a lot of that capabilities to many other places around the world. Second, which is more on the social impact, we led from Madrid one initiative was called Generation, which basically the aim was to help adults to get closer to the work placement. Some type of profiles that were a bit having more difficulties to get in the workforce by doing structured trainings, capability building, and so on and so forth. And that has been something very successful. Even now it has carved out as an initiative out of McKinsey as a social initiative. And more recently, with out from Iberia, Spain, and Portugal, we are innovating, or we are leading in one initiative that is around the industry and energy transition. You all know that this is something that all the companies and institutions in the world put in a lot of emphasis. We really believe that Spain and Portugal, they are in a privileged position of leading this energy transition because many factors, cheaper energy, access to infrastructure, etc. So we are putting all the firm in motion from leading Spain of being one of those hubs in industry and energy transition.
That's actually very impressive, and I mean, as someone who is at the lead of the company, congratulations. I mean, I think it has to be very rewarding. I mean, you talked about the history of McKinsey, and obviously the world has been going through a lot of challenges. You mentioned the financial crisis. I mean, more recently we had COVID. And with McKinsey turning 100 years, where do you think that the future of consultancy is? Like, where do you see consultancy maybe in the next 5 years?
I think the fundamentals will remain. And I think when we look even to our mission and to our values, which is basically two things. One is generating or delivering sustainable impact to our clients or transformative impact to our clients. I think that will be the same. Maybe the way that evolves a bit is how you deliver or help the clients to deliver that impact. I think more and more we are going to impact partnerships on which we are part of this transformation in the clients and we share the success with the clients. And I think this is something that is more being demanding, and also to go more from not only, let me say, initial strategic thinking, but also accompanying the clients across those partnerships more on the execution, implementation, capability building, and so on and so forth. And I think the second aspect is technology. I think technology is touching all professions in the world, but also consulting. Okay, I think there is, it's not only about, I mean, all technology, digitalization, generative AI, etc. I think many of those capabilities that now are available were not available before, and I think they are helping many of us and many of the consultants to evolve this model.
And talking about the present and of course the future, what are the emerging trends right now in the industry?
Well, I think there are two or three. I mean, clearly one is on technology and artificial intelligence. I think it is one clear trend. Even for us, many of the things that we are doing can be automated, can be doing faster, okay, or we can get access to process more data, more information with this type of capabilities that we were not able before, okay. also on how we deliver all this technology to the clients. Okay, we are also more and more putting a lot of effort on partnerships and different models to deliver those capabilities to the clients. I think another trend is on all that has to do with skilling, reskilling, capability building. I think that the world is changing. Many of the capabilities that are today in the companies will not be there in some years. So I think we also need to adapt and also have the capability or the ability to help the clients to do all this reskilling that needs to be done. Okay, and I think the other trend, which obviously is impacting all the industries, but also us, is all that relates to ESG. Okay, not only on the environmental part of it, but also on the social and the governance. And I think those firms in the consultancy space that are looking into this also, I think that are the ones that eventually will be more reinforced in the future.
So talking about the IA, what is your opinion on artificial intelligence?
That's a complicated question, but very good one. Look, I think there is no doubt that the artificial intelligence is already touching many industries in the world. Okay, and our research says that 70% of the work that is being today will be touched by generative intelligence, and many several trillions of investments are going already into this type of transformation. So I think that's one thing that for sure is going to touch almost everything that any company or any profession will do. The second thing is that comes along with a lot of technology, okay, that needs to be deployed, and a lot of investment that needs to be done. Okay, it's not only on, let me see, pure technology. Okay, how you process the data, how you manage the data, but also brains or computers that need to handle that data, but also how you give power to those data. Okay, and I'm sure you have been hearing that all this advanced intelligence comes a lot with a lot of power and energy requirements, which is transforming the world. And third, there is a lot of ethics. Okay, because all artificial intelligence obviously has a lot of benefits.
Yes.
But you need to manage the risks that are associated with these technologies and with potential results. So having clear view and frameworks on how to handle, how to cope with the potential downsides or challenges that the application of these technologies may have in the different industries, I think this is important.
Nice.
And I mean, do you think that there is a certain risk that AI will take over part of the consultant's work?
Well, it's already evolving. I think part of the work that I was doing when I was analyst, I think you can already do with advanced intelligence. We have our own internal advanced intelligence capability. For sure, is touching. And I don't know if the word is replacing, but I think some of the tasks will be more automated. And for those tasks, obviously, we might not use human resources that we were using, but we will use resources for other things that are coming, that are new, that we need to reply. Okay, and this is why I was saying all the reskilling and capability building is also important even for us.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, it's kind of reassuring to hear that hopefully in the future, maybe 10 or 15 years from now, we will still need the human touch in consulting as well, even though some of the tasks might be automated, as you said. Kind of you touched upon ESG, and so I was just wondering, how do you see the future of business or consultancy, but business in general, in terms of sustainability?
Well, I think this is something that already started, and clearly it's I think I would say the trail left already the station in terms of ESG. So we cannot go back in all aspects. So I think those companies in all sectors that get prepared into it will be the ones that I think will emerge more successfully in all aspects. Okay, there are uncertainties of the degree of speed and so on and so forth, but I think the end point is quite clear. I think the uncertainty is a bit more of what's the journey to get to that end point. Okay, and I think that's the the challenge, and I think where is most of the companies and even consultants we need to focus a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Maybe kind of speaking to our listeners or everyone watching right now. Well, those people who are listening or watching are most likely interested in consulting. So, kind of to close, what advice would you give to a student who is aspiring for a career that's maybe similar to yours, or for a career in consulting in general?
Yeah, well, maybe three aspects or three things. I think the first one is it's very important that everyone make his own path, career, and that all of, I mean, as a early professional, we explore and we discover where we get energy and passion. Okay, it could be consultant, it could be something different. Okay, so I mean, obviously, if anyone that is listening is thinking about of consulting career, for sure, I will encourage them to try. I think that's for sure. But I was saying, I think the very early years, I think it's very important that everyone realizes, okay, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. So a bit creating your own journey. Second, and I think if you are already in the consultant industry or you are already a consultant, I think, but that's apply for consultancy and for any other profession, I will say, is it's important that you or each of us push ourselves for excel. Okay, and I think if you want to be an excellent doctor, you need to push for excellence. If you want to be an excellent sportsman, you need to push for excellence. If you want to be an excellent consultant, you need to push for excellence. I think that's very important. Okay, and obviously when you are in the consultant industry, maybe this is a bit more obvious because at the end you have clients that they are always raising the bar for us, and it came across very natural. But I think this is something that that is very important to incorporate. And then third is also do some step backs and take a bit of a stock. Okay, I was doing during my career. Okay, I told you I joined, but I was not aware of what consulting was. When I joined, I thought it's going to be a bit of an experiment. I'm sure I'm going to be here for a few months, maximum few years, and then I will move to the next thing. Maybe it will come, I don't know, but still, I think it's important that at some point in time you do a bit of check and balances and think, okay, all these things that has been giving me energy or my career as a consultant is still what is giving me energy for the future. Okay, and I think those step backs and reflecting, taking a bit of a stock, I think are also very important. Obviously, in a profession like us, where everything goes very fast and sometimes you don't realize and you are moving fast, and you don't have time to take those small pauses and reflect, but I think that's very important also.
Thank you.
Well, Juan, thank you very much for joining us today on the behalf of 180 Degrees Consulting team. We're really grateful for this opportunity to hear all your insights and advice. And it's been a completely privilege to learn from your experience. And Emma and I are sure that our listeners have found it very valuable. So thank you once again. And it's been a pleasure to meet you.
My pleasure. Thanks to you.